Hello, this is Silvia Pavoni, economics editor of The Bank, and I'm talking to Antonio Alves, who is the head of short-term finance for the IFC. Antonio, I know you've just come back from a very interesting trip in Asia, where you were trying to get partners for your banks here in Latin America. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Sure, Silvia. It's a pleasure again to talk to you. I just came back 2 weeks ago from a trip in Asia. Went to China and Japan, but mainly China. I had very interesting and important meetings with the largest banks in China, 7 largest banks in China, to try to explore their interest on working with Latin American bankers and companies. And I was very pleased with the results. Given the crisis that we have in Europe and the retreat of the European banks, the Latin American banks right now, they are relying so much on US and Canadian banks, so they need and they want to have a different source of funding. Asia could be that solution. So that was the objective of my trip, and I was surprised and also pleased with the interest and the current liquidity of the Chinese banks. The Chinese banks are holding a good amount of US dollar. They are very interested to explore a new market. Latin America makes total sense given the trade ties between the two regions. Latin America is the largest exporter of commodities. China is the largest buyer of commodities. On the other way around, China is one of the largest exporters of equipment and consumer goods, and Latin America is buying those products. So the South-South flow between China and Latin America just makes sense. And in addition to that, China sees Latin America as a growing region. However, the roadblock right now is the Chinese banks. They don't know necessarily all countries in Latin America, and they are not comfortable with the credit risk. They need a risk mitigation vehicle to open the doors, and IFC can be that risk mitigation.
So that's where you come into play. Now, obviously, we are here at Felaban, and as everybody, I'm pretty sure your diary is really full with meetings with all sorts of banks from around the region. What are the trends that you're picking up from your discussions, and what's the role that these banks are playing in supporting growth across the region?
Yeah, we have during these 4 days over 50 meetings, and it's one of the best periods of the year because it's November. We plan what will be our strategy for the following year, and it's a good opportunity to talk with as many banks as possible, and that's what we are doing now. One thing that we are trying to develop and to be really focused on in Latin America is the support to the SME companies, exporters and importers, small and medium exporters and importers across the region. So I'm trying now to gather information from the banks in terms of what is their portfolio of clients, what kinds of exporters and importers and size and industries that they have in their portfolio of clients. So we can create a product focusing on supporting those types of companies. One idea that we have already been discussing with some key partners is what we are calling indirect pre-export finance, meaning the idea is to support suppliers of exporters. I will give you an example, which is not necessarily true, just a fictitious example. Let's say that you have a car manufacturer, and this car manufacturer export vehicles from, let's say, Brazil to China. This company, this car manufacturer, buys parts and products from small and medium companies in Brazil. So those suppliers would benefit from this indirect pre-export finance. And we want to develop that not only in Brazil, but across the region, as I said, and in different industries, mainly in the commodities industry, agribusiness industry, which is the core of the region.
So it sounds like a very interesting product. What's the response that you're getting from banks?
Yeah, the banks are extremely interested to further develop this idea. We got already some leads in the northeast of Brazil with ethanol producers. We also got some leads in the Central America, also still in the agribusiness or the food product chain. You have a lot of, another example, in Nicaragua, you have a lot of small coffee producers selling to a big exporter. So we want to reach those smaller producers so they can improve their condition and the competitive pricing in terms of selling those raw materials to the big exporter.
It sounds, again, like a very interesting project, so let's hope it's going to take up across the region. Thank you very much for your comments.
Yes, thank you very much, and exciting times ahead of us.